So I figured I'd record this video now real quick. Um, I went through the whole. I recorded a video on my phone of an update and then didn't post it at that moment, so it just sat in my camera roll for like 8 days. And obviously it's outdated at that point, so I just ended up deleting it, even though there's probably good enough information in there to talk about. But hey, I got a red shirt. This is like one of the first shirts I bought from Walmart, and it's one of those two tones, and I haven't had a two-tone shirt in like God, since maybe like seventh grade or something like that. I like it. It's cool. It's a little bit big. It's a medium, but it's a little bit like loose, a little bit fluffy, but it's not bad. It's a good long sleeve I can wear during the summer, I think, and when it's hotter, because I do like long sleeves. I slept in it last night. It's covered in a little bit of a lint. That's okay. I haven't gotten dressed for work yet, as you can tell. I'm still a little bit asleep. So real fast, I wanted to mention that this previous Saturday, Book Two did release two expected results. One pre-order, which was more than I thought, honestly. Technically, it was two, but to help boost the numbers and make mess with the algorithm, I had my mom on her Amazon account pre-order it, the Kindle, just to make it look, hopefully drive traffic by seeing more pre-orders. And I couldn't see how many pre-orders there were until they went through. So I had one pre-order. So to that one person that pre-ordered Book Two, Platonic Kisses. Um, that being said, while I'm very happy and very relieved to have Book Two released, that's been, I don't know, since 2018 is when I really started putting it all together. Outside of it just being pieces of ideas. Now that that's released, I'm waiting for my own copies to come in the mail because for some reason, ordering Amazon author copies for me takes like 4 weeks. It's ridiculous. And yet you guys can buy it and probably get it in like 7, 8, 9 days, maybe. It's ridiculous. But I'm at it again. I have two books in the works right now. I'm right now getting the blueprint down for book three. It's not going to be anything too crazy. Like, book one kind of had a crescendo plot line. Like, it started off very slow of a build, and then it gets into the meat and the lore and the understanding of what's going on. And then it kind of peters for a minute. You kind of take a break after some crazy stuff happens. And then you have, like, the final crescendo climax of violins and whatnot. So that's how that goes. And then book two's pacing is starts off again. They always start off as a slow build. You gotta like it's like soaking yourself into an Epsom salt bath. You just kind of like you're getting used to the heat of the water and how it feels and the smells and all the textures, and you're getting used to everything. You're adapting. That's how book three will start too, but not as long. The other books kind of take a bit. Like I think book one takes 130 pages before real shit kicks off. Like there's stuff to keep you engaged for sure. There's conflict and there's stuff going on, character development. But when the actual supernatural plotline stuff comes in, isn't for like the first third of the book. Book two starts off as like a very slow, melancholy, depressing tone for probably 100 pages. There's just a lot of like reeling after the events of book one and picking up the pieces of what's left, kind of thing. And then you get into basically a go 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 we're being hunted plot line by something that none of us can compete with, while also trying to deal with X, Y, and Z and get these other subplots going while the main plot is looming over us, kind of thing. And then the way it ends is a bit of a it's a bit of a slow decline, and it's supposed to be like a nice bow wrap it up kind of thing. And it is, because the canonical end for the story is the last chapter and epilogue of book two. However, there is, and I'm not going to get into a lot of stuff, but there is a time skip that happens at the end of book two, and in between that time skip is when book three takes place. So, book three gives the context and the depth to things that we hear referenced in the last chapter of book two, which kind of brings up an interesting hurdle I'm trying to figure out. I don't think I would remove the end of book 2 as it is now with the time jump, because that would just make book 2 feel like it has less of an ending, I guess, a less satisfactory ending. Even though, I mean, not really. It's hard because there is a cutoff point that I could do where we don't take that time jump. But the way that the perspective shifts are for book 2 and the characters whose mind we're a part of and following, to have to then to go into book 3, where book 3 is a following one character but detached narrative. So you're describing what this character is doing, not describing it from the me perspective. Because I don't think it would really work as an inner monologue for this character. I don't think that it fits well for them. So it's hard. I'm trying to figure out how to make that work, and I don't think I'm going to remove the ending. If anything, I'm going to end book 3 in a way that leads into the last chapter of book 2. It's like, I can see these characters in the distance, and then I know what I'm about to do, and then basically it cuts off at that point. And then you, having read book 2 already, because you're going to read that before book 3, knowing what's about to happen, so you kind of like relive that ending and understand, oh, okay, this is what's going on right here, kind of thing. But book 2 is going to be probably shorter. I'm thinking 250 pages as opposed to 400. I'm not quite sure yet. Because essentially the plot is going to revolve around, now that we've solved XYZ issue from book 2, we still have these lingering plot threads of mysterious characters that have been around since before book 1, but don't get a lot of mention because they're not able to interact during the timeline of book 1 and book 2. So we're dealing with them, and them plural as in another group of 4 called Umbra, and they're a whole faction that they have a whole backstory, and we're kind of dealing with what they want versus what the council wants, and how their conflicting desires overlap into wanting the same thing but by different means, and how we have to kind of come to an agreement, a balance, and understanding between the two. But the council being pedantic and prideful and feeling above because they are gods, versus the Umbra feeling no better than anyone while having these abilities and this history. Wanting to kind of come to a conclusion together is difficult, so there has to be one or two characters that are kind of like, mediating their reasoning with everyone, and trying to, like, instead of trying to kill each other, let's fucking talk and figure it out and work something out. And that's kind of the plot that's going to happen. So think about it as like divine blessed demonic terrorists, but not terrorists against the world and humanity, against the council specifically, because without the council the Umbra wouldn't exist, and they don't like that. So that's the idea that I'm going for with book 3. I know a lot of that means nothing to any of you. If you're still watching this, comment boobs. That's how we do around here. But right now I have about 5 pages of just scripting written down. So it's literally just blocks of text separated by a hyphen saying this is where the next chapter begins, roughly. So I'm just kind of dumping all the ideas and trying to get a sequential timeline for book 3, so I have it ready. So when I do start to work on it, I have my guides. I just got to fill in. Apart from that, the other book I have in the works is it's Chrism's story, and who she was when she was human, and how it all kind of came to be and worked out. So we get a brief description of her backstory in book 2, enough to kind of give the reader an understanding of why she's did everything she did and she's doing what she's doing. But this is like the day by day, like 5 days prior to the events that took place. We're going through, maybe not 5 days, like 3 or 4 days. we experience all of like what her life was like and how it came to be, and a little bit of after. We'll go through, but I already have that pretty much scripted out for the most part. But I'm gonna get this scripted down because it's kind of burning in my head right now. So I want to get it on paper first, and then go back and then write the shorter story, get that out because that ties together with the anthology coming out with Dogma. And yeah, so that's what's going on for me when it comes to writing. And I'm not going to talk about personal life because this is already 10.5 minutes long. So that's what's going on. If you haven't picked up Vengeance, Children of Faust, which just got a very slight revamp, cleaned up some of the early chapters that were still kind of messy still kind of had some bad writing left over from when I first started writing the book. Cleaned that up, made it a bit more concise and neater. It's a lot better now. Also, I redid kind of the layout. I updated like the font, the chapter headings, changed a couple of chapter names, adjusted them because they were kind of simple. I wanted them to be a little bit more poetic, like Sinful Marionette kind of thing. And I also updated the back page and the pages before the actual chapters, like dedications, and put some reviews in the front and stuff. So check out Vengeance, Children of Faust, and Book 2, Vengeance Cataclysm. If I could set up a bundle duology, it's not even a duology, but if I could set up a book deal on Amazon that you would get multiple books in one order, kind of, like a bundle, I would. I don't think I can, but if I could do that, I would. I would get the, specific timeline. I would get Transgression, Book 1 and Book 2 all in a bundle if I could, but anyways, that's going to be it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Check out linkinslegion.com/vengeance for book stuff, and I will see you guys later.